Okay, this is Group 10's networking project, the Blackjack protocol implementation. This is going to be a super quick tour of it. Just to give you a little bit of an orientation, this is set up on Tux right now. I've opened up 3 different terminal servers, as you can see, and they're actually on 3 different Tux hosts, so different IP addresses on the same local area network. And this is going to be really fast, so here we go. On the left-hand side here, you'll see that I've started up a server, and it's bound to port 55555 TCP/IP. It's actually encrypted with TLS underneath here, and it started a locator service so that the client up here in the upper right-hand corner doesn't have to specify a host name or anything like that. Just connects, uses the locator service to find a host to connect to on the local area network. At this point, I can go ahead and log in. So what's going on in the background here, of course, is that we have these protocol messages that are going back and forth. So while I've got some sort of end-user interface over here on the client, it's actually taking my input, translating it into the protocol, sending it to the server, getting the response back, and then presenting it to the user in this kind of menu-driven system. So as an example of using the protocol, I'll go ahead and choose to join a game. This is actually doing a query, coming up with a list of games and presenting it to the user. And I will choose to start one. I just have to type in the number of it. And here I am in the game. So you'll see it's got, the little bet amounts here that I can make, menu options. For example, I can query for my balance. That's another message that goes over to the server and then back again. At this point, I can make a bet. It does a little bit of error checking too. That's on the protocol side. So, for example, if I were to bet, $5, it's going to complain because that's outside of the bet range. If I bet $10, it's much happier. You can see the cards here. I can go ahead and make my play. I choose to stand. The dealer's getting a bunch of cards. And eventually they chose to stand and they had more points than me and I lost. That's typically what happens in these games. So that's kind of the single player mode. So down here I'm going to start another client just to show you what happens when we've got 2 people running around in the system. So I'll log in and I'll choose to join a game. I'll pick the same game. Now he can't play quite yet because they've already asked for bets, but you'll see up here on user 1 that I did get notified that they joined. So I can go ahead and appear on user 1, but again go through this. The user down here you'll see is also getting notifications as things in the game are happening. I'm going to choose to stand here. You'll see the user, the cards play out, and once again I've lost, and it's notified down here in client 2 as well. Now they're actually both in here playing, so I could go ahead and bet big here, bet small, or I could actually decide to leave up here if I wanted to. And, I get alerted again that this person has left, and now I'm the only person in here playing. And it sort of goes on there. We've got the messages going back and forth. So one last thing to show is a tool that we use for debugging. It's a message monitor, this graphical window here, and what it does is show the actual protocol messages decrypted that are going between the client and the server. So for example, you can see here where I logged in by typing in my username and password, and these got transferred into protocol messages passed to the server. Again, if I were to do something like request to join a game, here you'll see what actually happens is it generates this list games command that gets passed to the server, and that huge multi-line message then gets translated into a nice human readable menu system. And so if I were to choose to join a game, just game number 1 here, I'm just typing option number 1, this actually gets translated into the join session command that you can see here, gets back a 211 response code, then goes ahead and runs a game status message that's being passed from the client to the server just to figure out what the state of the game is. The 720 message that you see coming back is the prompt that the user needs to enter in a bet. If I were to go ahead and choose an incorrect amount, like below the minimum, I'll get a 400 series, 421 in this case, error code back, and the client actually just translates that and shows it to the user. So we can go ahead and again show how, as I'm playing along in the game here, we're actually passing these raw protocol messages back and forth between the client and the server. And that's really all there is to the project.